So our mission is to be the foremost thought leader and advocate for enabling and harmonizing best practices, standards, and framework for AI ecosystems. So what does that mean in a nutshell? It means we want to take the best of breed, the ISO standards, the NIST standards, the EU regulations, the White House executive order on AI, the previous administration and the current one. We want to look at state laws. Texas, surprisingly, but others are telling me I shouldn't be too surprised because of Texas kind of leadership when it comes to cybersecurity as a state. Texas is passing a law called TRIGA, which is Texas Responsible AI Governance Act. So it's called TRAIGA. It becomes effective January 1, 2026. They're going to require that any business that operates in Texas or has customers that are resident in Texas has to pretty much adopt responsible AI principles. And they provided a safe harbor to say if you're NIST AI RMF, if you adopt as an organization NIST AI RMF, they'll give you a safe harbor. That means you're compliant pretty much with PRIGA. So we've seen several states, I think at least half of the states in the US either have pending bills or acts or other types of legislation around responsible AI, but specifically around AI governance and risk management. So what we're doing is we're trying to harmonize all that effort so you don't have to chase, I would say, too many shiny objects.
Well, no, I think what you just shared there is great. If these different individual state laws can at least settle on a common framework at the top level, like NIST RMF, users can start A, preparing now so they're ready when these things go live, and B, so there is a standard kind of across the board. We've seen that on the privacy side be challenging. Different states have different levels of privacy considerations, and it makes it very difficult for folks that are working at a national level to really make sure they're maintaining that. You really start looking for the lowest common denominator, right? And say if I can hit that one, then I should be okay across the others.
Absolutely. I mean, Brian, you're so spot on. We kind of saw this coming when we started a think tank about 2.5 years ago. We started April 2023. And we kind of waited for the AI hype to kind of settle a little bit because that whole thing started in 2021, 2022. So in 2023, we started the think tank and we were thinking about what do we use as kind of the baseline for our trusted AI model, which is pretty much a framework around controls and control objectives and responsible AI principles, and then we have all the crosswalk to all the different standards and laws, etc. And so we settled on NIST AI RMF, which is still is 1.0, right?
Yep.
And I'm so glad we did that because now that's becoming almost like that baseline that a lot of the states are saying, okay, if you follow that and you use that to do some sort of risk assessment or health check, you're good, right? It doesn't mean you're 100% compliant, but you at least use that as kind of where you want to be, from a maturity standpoint to manage AI risk. So the beauty of that is in the absence of a federal law, and we've been waiting for a federal law around privacy for how long?
Yeah.
I mean, we have HIPAA, but that's all healthcare. Just have one that applies to PII and breach disclosure. Obviously, the SEC jumped in, but that only applies to like publicly traded companies. So in the absence of a federal law, harmonizing all the different state laws just makes sense, especially if we can leverage something that is already taxpayer funded, which is the NIST AI RMF, which is obviously NIST is part of the Department of Commerce, I believe. So it's like no point reinventing the wheel, but I'm so glad that we kind of took that approach 2.5 years ago, because that also then means that our model is actually even more relevant today than it was 2.5 years ago.